So, a lot of players are heading abroad this winter, not just the playing staff. I understand that you're heading abroad as well.
I am very fortunate. So tomorrow I'm off to New Zealand, going to Canterbury, flying to Christchurch, so hopefully everything's okay there. And joining up with Canterbury, who become the Canterbury Kings for their T20 competition.
And what sort of things are you going to be doing down there?
Well, hopefully we're looking to establish an arrangement, a reciprocal arrangement where we've got a coach and player exchange. So twofold, I guess. It's one, it's about my personal development, experience different coaches, different environment, different players, see how they go about their business and what we can glean, what we can bring back to Somerset. And secondly, that is actually, obviously the T20 competition was poor for us last year, so I guess it's looking at what we can take from, learnings we can take from last year and also from a new environment that potentially gives us the edge next year.
So sort of a case of sharing best practice, that kind of thing?
Absolutely, I think it's really important for someone like myself to keep developing. Obviously been doing what I do a long time, but for me, different environments learn to lead to different learnings, and that's really exciting for me.
You've been associated with the club a long time, and you know just how much the supporters like a homegrown.
Yeah, it's a unique club. It's phenomenal. The support we get, whether we're playing poorly, which at times we obviously will, and when we're playing well, the support it never wavers, and so we're incredibly fortunate in that sense. And there's no doubt that they support the homegrown. They want the homegrown players to do well, which is great, and it's great for the players that come through the system. But ultimately they want the team to do well, and to have that support continuously we're very fortunate.
And we were particularly lucky this year in that the slightly older players, certain likes of Trescothick, Rogers, Hildreth, you know, it's a cliche, a mix of youth and experience, but that seemed to be almost a perfect balance we had last year.
Absolutely. I mean, for me it was epitomised in the last game when Chris Rogers came to the fore, scored hundreds both innings, and you had young players contributing. You can't buy that experience. People talk about it, and Trez, he's been here forever, but his work ethic, just the way he goes about his business, is infectious, and people look up to him obviously for what he's done as a player, but the way he goes about it day to day, a lot of the stuff that people don't see, has a huge impact on young players. And as I say, you can't buy that. So we were incredibly fortunate with the calibre of more experienced players that we had last year.
You can't say old.
No, I would never, only to Trez's face. But then you combine that with young players, and we associate with age, whereas our young players now are quite experienced. They've been around for a number of years now and winning games of cricket for us, so the future's really exciting.
You touched on Trez there. I think it's been particularly noticeable during the close season. You know, he's always here. He's in, he's training, and I saw him with the younger guys, like Ben Green again today, just passing on, you know, his experience and just little things, and you know, you can't buy that experience, can you?
No, you can't. I think when any young player transitions from the academy, they're fortunate that we're a very family orientated club, and they spend a lot of time on the academy in the environment where the pros are, so they get that little bit of understanding of the players, start to know who they are, and then once they transition and they're training with them daily, the way Trez treats them, I'd suggest something to do with his mental age for the younger players. Again, it's really infectious. So this is someone that they've looked up for years, watched him play international cricket, be one of the best players in the world, and they see his desire to get better day in, day out, and again, that's infectious.
You mentioned the academy there. Recently we saw the new intake. Excited about a few of those names, I would imagine?
Unbelievably so. I mean, I've recently sat with Steve Snell, the academy director, and Greg Kennis, head of performance, and Greg and myself have been here a long time. Snell's been here three years or so now, and it's easy to say sat at this side of the table, but genuinely the whole pathway, I think it's the best I've ever seen. In terms of the amount of talent that we've got, the way we're actually putting the programmes together now, the amount of contact time we have, the amount of resource that we can, not give's not the right word, but the amount of resource that's there and available to age group players, the PSPP, the academy, I haven't seen it before, so it's incredibly exciting.
And a lot of work has gone into establishing improved links with the sister counties, the Devons, the Cornwalls, Dorset and slightly further afield.
It's important, isn't it, that we spread our net as wide as we can. You know, the relationships with Devon, Cornwall especially are really strong at the minute. We spend a lot of time communicating with those guys, and it's a reciprocal arrangement. Again, we've spent time in Cornwall, they've spent time here helping us out, creating ideas, and it's important that it's a working relationship, and that's created opportunities for young players. We've got Lewis Goldsworthy, who's going away with, I think it's the Bunbury 11 or the England under-16s. So he's off on a trip now, a reflection of the work that he's done in Cornwall, the time he spent with us. And that's a great example of two counties working together to give the young player the best opportunity to develop. Because as you said, people talk about the pathway, and it's about creating as many opportunities as we can for young players to develop.
And do you think that's going to be successful?
I've got no doubts. I think if you invest, and you invest at the bottom of the pyramid, you put in structures and support network coaching for young players that then is conducive and is also runs aligned with what you're trying to do at the top end. In my gut feel, I've got no doubts that if you can, that's what leads to sustained success, is that you get a conveyor belt, if you like, a pipeline of players that understand your culture, they understand what it is to represent Somerset, and that can only be a good thing for the future.